Nets Kingdom.
Fuck that house now. I'm back. To the top, I'ma make it. Niggas just can't take it. To the top, I'ma make 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 it. Niggas just can't take it.
Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy AJ. I'm here with Cypher. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, follow us on Twitter. All our Twitters are scrolling at the bottom. Instagram is Nets Kingdom 1. So we're back today with a Nic Claxton video. So a lot of fans will talk about trade Nic Claxton. So we're finally going to break it all down. There have been some articles by SB Nation and SI about Nic always being a potential trade candidate for the Nets to the Lakers. But we can talk about other teams here too, because, Nic is a valuable center in this league. So let me read what this SB Nation, shout out to SB Nation, says here. The breakup between the Brooklyn Nets and big man Nic Claxton seems imminent as we get closer to free agency this summer. Claxton, who signed a 4-year extension last summer, has been linked to the Los Angeles Lakers' hunt for a rim-running big man in hopes of bolstering their roster for next season. Claxton is coming off his 4th season as a starter, logging 10.3 points, 7.4 rebounds, and 2.2 assists. He's been regarded as one of the best shot blockers in the league, going for 1.4 blocks. All right, so let me start with this question, Saif. We saw the Lakers hunt for Mark Williams during the trade deadline, and we thought it was going to happen. They gave up Dalton Connect. I think it was like a future first, because we see how Luka is just a great playmaker and needs that rim running big, that lob threat big. So as far as Claxton goes, like, what do you think Claxton's value is right now in this league, and what are your expectations of something? What are you getting? What do you want to receive back for Claxton if the Lakers or any team,
I mean, look, well, regarding Claxton, it's so the Mark Williams trade is interesting because the Lakers are aware that they need a big. Yeah. They were running Jackson Hayes at the 5. And he was and here's the thing though, in the regular season he looked fine.
Yeah.
Like Luka and LeBron's gravity and Austin Reeves made him look like a playable big.
Yeah.
But when they got to the postseason, JJ Redick couldn't trust him. And so he sent him to the bench. I don't think he played a single minute in that final game 5. And Rudy Gobert had a 20-20 game in his career high in playoff points.
Yeah.
So they know that they need a big. Everyone knows that. The Mark Williams thing is very weird because there's a conspiracy theory that the Lakers knew they realized they overpaid for Mark Williams because they gave up more than a first. They gave up Connect, a first, and an unprotected pick swap.
Yeah,
so
that's a lot.
They gave up a lot. So with Claxton and with the trade market being very weird, role players are worth multiple seconds in this new trade market.
Yeah.
Because of his age and what Claxton did a couple years ago when we had Durant and Irving, I'd assume his value would be a good first. Good first and a matching salary, of course. The problem is, because of his position, Claxton's lack of lineup versatility, he has to be the 5 because he can't shoot. It's very difficult to really justify giving up a first round pick for him. And not only that, dude had a bad season. Well, we love Claxton, but let's be honest, he was not good this year.
Yeah.
A career lows across the board since I believe his rookie year. Scoring went down, efficiency went down. I think he shot 56% of the field.
Yeah.
Which is completely different from what he did 2 years ago. I believe he shot over 70%.
Yeah.
So a huge fall off. Still can't shoot. Still not a good mid-range shooter. Free throws are still an issue. The defense was good in stretches, and the rebounding went down as well. I don't know. With Claxton, I think it would be better if the Nets just waited. Until the deadline, have him play up his value, and then trade him.
No, I agree. And this year, I know a lot of Laker fans are going to start watching this video because they're going to see Lakers and Nic Claxton. And I think I'm not to cop Claxton now because he admitted himself he had a bad year. But there was an injury that the Nets, I don't know if the Nets were hiding, but nobody told us about. We found out Nick had some back issues going into this year that it was a surprise. So that kind of scared me in the beginning. I'm like, wait, back? What happened to your back? And then we saw like, I remember like a couple of games, the first games I watched Nick, and I'm like, something's wrong. Like he's not moving like he usually moves.
He had to get an epidural at the start of the season.
Yeah, and that's scary. An epidural, like people don't understand. We've seen Ben Simmons, like back problems are a major issue in basketball because I think it's probably Achilles number one, and then back to me is two, and then maybe ACL, knees. Back is like really, really bad. It could deteriorate your game. It's you need it for everything. So when I saw that epidural, that kind of like, whoa, what's going on here? So it took him some time to get going, and he did hit a stride in like when we had Dennis and that team, and we were going 500. You know, we were not tanking. We were supposed to be tanking, but we were not tanking in the beginning. He did hit a stride, and he looked pretty good, like back to his like normal self a little bit. But then like he kind of regressed again. It was more like peaks and valleys. Like he would have looked good 3 or 4 games, look bad 4 or 5 games. So going forward, I just think his value to me, what I want, I don't want to trade Nick, but it's like if we were to trade Nick, first off, I need a replacement. I need a replacement center. I mean, and if that's in the draft, let me know if it's in the draft. Second, I want draft cap because of his age, and I think with Luka, he would look incredible. Like Luka might turn. You saw what Luka did with Jackson Hayes. If Luka got a healthy Nic Claxton, oh my God, Luka and LeBron would turn him into some next type of center, bro. He would. He might average like 14 and 15, 10, 2 blocks. Like he might turn into the demon. So it's like if I'm giving you that at 25 years old, I want some draft capital. And what scares me off of the Lakers draft capital is because now that they have Luka, if Luka resigns, you're telling me you might be pretty good in those future years in 2031. I know LeBron will probably be gone by then, but the Lakers are just they're just like the darling of the NBA. It's hard to see them as a bad team, especially with Luka as your future. Does that make any sense? Like,
oh, dude, after what happened,
mm-hmm.
the way they got Luka Doncic for essentially nothing, like no disrespect to Anthony Davis, but even if the NBA isn't rigged, like what happened was so bad. It's just like there's no way the Lakers are going to be bad.
Yeah,
for long stretches. Like I don't value like their first round picks are so much less valuable, even if unprotected. It just they went from Jerry West to Will Chamberlain, to Kareem, to Magic, to Worthy,
Kobe, to
Shaq, to LeBron, to AD, to Luka. Like they've had more talent than any other franchise in NBA history. Like their picks, like the way they got bailed out too is just insane. That like their first round picks, like I would need that pick unprotected in order for me to feel like any amount of comfortable. It just no. I generally wouldn't do a deal with the Lakers.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it either because going forward, I think there's other teams that could give us a better kind of mix than the Lakers. Because that unprotected, it's not that pick is gonna be pretty good. And I think like going forward with Claxton, he still like if his back is okay and everything is okay, he's still a valuable center. And this
the back injury. Okay, look, I don't buy that. I know he had an epidural. He played 70 games, man.
He did. But there are some games, like I said, there's a few games I noticed his play was like the way he was moving. I'm not saying like I said, it could be a cop out to me. It could be a cop out, but I still think like something was wrong there. I think there was a miscommunication either with the medical team with the Nets. Him, I don't know. It just seemed off for me. I don't know.
If he had played like 50 games instead of 70, then I'd give it to you. But man, he just played too much. That if the injury was bothering him that much, then he shouldn't have played outright.
Yeah.
It just look. I don't want to believe like he just played too much for me to really say it was all injury.
To his injury. That's fair. No, and I'm saying like he did have a down year. He had a bad year. Like it didn't look good. But we have to think about what Claxton is. Like, what do you really want from Claxton? You can't really like ask for 20 points and creation from Claxton. He needs a point guard. He needs a table setter. That's where he's at his best. He needs a table setter. He needs a power forward with him. Or some type of defensive wings with him. He needs a very good team for him to look the best.
He is very personnel dependent.
Yes.
Like he needs some good players around him in order to really show his impact. Like I'll say that in his defense. Like, yeah, look, if you don't have a point guard, like a real pick and roll point guard, like most of his scoring is gone, which is why the efficiency went down. If you don't have like another like power forward that could rebound and help with the rim protection, then like teams are just going to get layups because he switches out on the perimeter too much. I'm not putting it all on him. He's still a very good role player in my opinion.
He is.
But he has like flaws that are unrelated to other players. Like, look, the free throw shooting is still bad.
Yeah, the free throw shooting is bad.
His lack of on-ball creation, like, there's been enough years to say that he has a very defined ceiling.
Yeah.
And look, he's still a good starter. He's still like a key rotation player on a playoff team. He still has a ton of utility and value. I think if he does get traded, I'll say this in like defense of the Lakers.
Yeah.
And why we should trade him is that the Lakers might be so desperate for a center. We might be able to get the best possible package right now if we offer them Claxton.
Yeah. Yeah. They could probably somewhat overpay because that need for a center, we saw it in the playoffs. Like Jackson Hayes was benched. They couldn't even play him. They need a center with Luka and Bron, especially a center like Claxton. He's going to block shots, one of the best shot blockers in the NBA. The timing is unbelievable. And he's going to defend. And he's going to catch lobs. That's what Luka does. You know what I'm saying? And at times, Claxton can give you a little bit creation downhill when he gets in transition. At times, you might see him, create in turn and face, drive, get a lay. He can, but it's not like you're not going to want him to do that at a number one. You're going to want him to do that like as like a fourth, fifth kind of thing. Now, going forward, let me ask you this, bro. So the Nets, a lot of people were saying that the Nets should include Claxton in the trade up in this draft, in the 2025 draft. Do you see any team that is above us? Because there's been a lot of reports by the New York Post and the Nets are going to trade up. Do you see any team that we would include Claxton, or you think CJ is the more package centered guy to move up to these teams for a draft pick?
It's Cam Johnson.
Yeah.
Cam Johnson, like he's the guy that had a career year. He's super valuable. Teams really covered him. Great locker room guy, as far as I hear. Averaged almost 19 points per game on nearly 50, 40, 90 splits. Extremely efficient. Fits in any system. Defensively is okay enough at 6'8". And in this playoffs, like players like Cam Johnson that could shoot and play off ball like him, extremely valuable. Extremely valuable.
Yeah.
Like he is the guy that if we were trading up, let's just say like the Raptors, like Cam Johnson and like pick 19 for salary filler and pick 9, like I could see that happening.
Yeah.
I could see the Rockets being interested. I could see the Spurs being interested. Like there are ways if we want a second lottery pick, like Cam Johnson's the answer. Like Nic Claxton, because of his offensive limitations, like I don't think most teams will be interested.
Yeah. And then last thing before we get out of here, the center thing, right? With Day'Ron and Clax, right? So the Nets are projected to get Kaman Maluach probably at number 8. So do you see a situation where we could draft a center like this? And there's a couple of good bigs in this draft. There's Maluach, Queen, Sorber, Maxime Reynaud. Do you think there's a situation where if we draft a center, do you think that will hurt their development, like a Kaman Maluach development, or can we exist with all 3 centers on like we bring back Day'Ron, we bring back Clax, and we'll sign Maluach? You think can that exist? Because some people think we got to trade Claxton if we draft a center.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, the answer to that question is yes, essentially.
Yeah.
Because look, the lottery pick needs to be the priority.
Yeah.
Whoever we draft pick at 8 needs to be a start. None of this, because the Nets historically have not played their rookies or sophomores.
Yeah.
And they make them earn their minutes. Here's the thing though, you do that with the later draft picks. You can't do that with pick 8.
Yeah.
You can't do that with pick 8.
Yeah.
If you do it, you'll get destroyed, and rightfully so. This guy is supposed to be projected to be your franchise player. So, or at least a franchise cornerstone, a guy that should be here during the next time the Nets are contenders. If it's Kama Maluk, I don't think it should be because I have questions about like his offensive creation and how good he could be. But let's just say it's like Derek Queen, which he's got some creation abilities, even though I have problems with him.
Yeah.
It's just that guy from day one needs to get a ton of minutes. And if Claxton's going to be a blocker, and again, I love Claxton, longest tenured net, homegrown.
Yeah.
Like he's shown a hard ceiling, and you got to trade him. You got to trade him. Unless you develop Queen or Malawak as a power forward.
Yeah. That's a fair point. Like if you're not going to go double big, and a double big is what we've been seeing in these playoffs, and it's the new meta in the NBA. You might, if you're right, if it's that high of a pick, you're going to have to center. He's going to have to be the center.
Double bigs, but here's the thing though: the second big is skilled.
Yeah, you need a skillful second big. Yeah, and we don't have that.
Like Evan Mobley or Cat or Chad Holmgren.
Yeah, I think it's more conducive to keep Claxton if we get a skillful big. It would make more sense to me. You can put at that power forward. But if you get like a same kind of rim running, rebounding big, it's like we already have Day'Ron and Clax. So it's like it just kind of seems redundant to me. That's why I want like a different type of skill set big for this draft. But I'm not gonna say no to Malawach if he drops. I don't think he's gonna drop to 8. I think he'll go before that. But if he does drop, it's hard to pass up on 7-2 rim protecting. He can move like that at 7-2. It's hard to pass up 7-2. It's just hard.
I could.
He said you could.
What was it? Bol?
Oh yeah, Bobo.
What was he, 7'2"? Like
Bobo and Thon Maker.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a tangent. Like I think the Nets should prioritize like offensive creation above like a higher floor, but that's a tangent.
Yeah, we could. That's a whole other video. I don't want to get into that yet.
To finish off though, look, I just ran like a quick trade machine on what a Claxton trade will look like. Something we got to remember is that the Lakers are like really close to the second apron. So we got to just automatically we got to take more money back, which we can. We got plenty of cap space. So okay, I'm gonna throw a trade machine at you. Would you take Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent, which is a combined total of $29.7 million of salary, for Nic Claxton's $25.3 million in salary, and one unprotected first and an unprotected pick swap?
That sounds alluring. It does sound alluring. Rui, it depends because Gabe Vincent, I don't really want to keep. So is he on expiring?
Both are on expirings.
Both are on expirings?
Yeah.
Which, by the way,
for our 2026 cap space, that'd be huge because Claxton still has a lot of years left on his deal.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I would consider it, but again, like I said, I want that draft capital. I would probably just scope out the league and see if anybody wants in on it. I would create the bidding war first and see like, okay, are you going to give me something better than what the Lakers are giving me? If not, and we have to trade Claxton, then I would do it.
Yeah, and look, we could always flip a Rory. We could always flip Gabe Vincent. Those guys, look, those guys aren't going to, if the organization cares about like player development, those guys aren't going to get in the way.
Yeah. Okay, if you're telling me we could flip Rui and Gabe for 2026, something valuable or like a mixture of picks, then you got me listening. I'm picking up the phone.
Or worst case scenario, as long as the Nets are like do their due diligence, they could buy him out.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. That's fair. But I want, like I said, to me, the draft capital means more to me from giving up Claxton than the salary space and the cap flexibility. That's just me. But like I understand. I'm not like gonna judge Nets fans who want, who would take that in a heartbeat. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna judge Nets fans who do that. So let us know in the comments. What do you guys want to do with Claxton? Do you want to keep, trade? How you feel about the recent rumors about the Lakers? Are there any trade packages? Drop your trade packages in the chat. Lakers fans, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Again, follow us on Twitter. All our Twitters are scrolling at the bottom, and Instagram is Nets Kingdom 1. So appreciate you guys. Hit that like button to support, and we'll be back.